how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of CaswellCustoms. Vinny here, and today we're finally redoing the exhaust on my truck. So if you go back to one of my first videos that I put out, we put an electronic cutout, and let's just say it wasn't exactly the greatest. It worked pretty nice, but I messed up during the install and it kind of made it a problem. But the biggest thing is the controller, it opens it, but there's something wrong with the mechanism that it won't close. Luckily that was just a short-term thing for the truck. So today we are installing long tube headers from FlowTech, and then we're also putting in an MBRP Pre-axle side exit exhaust. We had to do some custom fab work on it, so we'll show you what we had to do there, but you're gonna see that in the video. We had to go back to Brent's. We actually did that before all the install, but we got all that put together. So now we're going to start taking off the old exhaust and headers and get everything bolted on. Alright, so because our MBRP exhaust was meant to go to a catback system, and we're now going to a catless system, this 2-bolt flange that the new headers come with, we need to make an adapter to weld to the existing exhaust pipe. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a template out of cardboard, and then we're going to go ahead and cut out our new flange out of steel that I have, and then we're going to weld that up and weld that to the exhaust pipe. So we're going to start by making our template. So I'm going to start by making some holes, just enough to be able to push those through. Just so that I get kind of a rough idea, and then go ahead and take a pencil and mark around the outside. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and cut this out. Alright, so there we have our template. I'd say that matches up pretty good. So now we just need to figure out our center hole on the existing exhaust, and we can start cutting these out of the steel. So here we got a 3-inch hole saw, and as you can see, fits right inside the diameter of our pipe. We'll go ahead and mark that right in the center, and then we're going to know where we need to make that hole. And there we have a rough mock-up of what our flange needs to look like. So now we're going to cut this out of steel. Alright, so here's our piece of steel. Because this is only 1/8 inch, I'm going to probably cut 3 out, and we're going to weld all 3 together to make a thicker flange. So I'm going to go ahead and start tracing these and get these cut out. Alright, now that we got our steel traced out, we're going to go ahead and cut this out with the angle grinder. And then we'll end up drilling our holes and drilling our hole saw using the drill press. So we're going to start by cutting these out. Alrighty, so definitely not a perfect cut, but I mean that's a fairly decent shape. We'll go ahead and take it over to the grinder and get it cleaned up though. We're kind of getting more of that football shape that we were looking for. So it's not exactly like it, but you know, when you're cutting with an angle grinder, you can only get so close. This is where a plasma cutter would be awesome, but maybe the best what we got. So now I gotta make 2 more of these. Alright, so after cutting these out, looking at the thickness, I think I'm only gonna need 2. I think 3 would probably be a little bit more than we need. but we're gonna go ahead and probably better to weld these together and then drill our holes. I'm gonna see what Brent thinks, but hopefully we can get these welded together, drill our center hole, and then bolt everything up. All right, so got most of the plates cut out and everything, started drilling. I had a 3-inch hole saw, but really wasn't meant for metal. So we're going over to Brent's to start the welding. I ran up to Home Depot, got the right hole saw, got some other bits for drilling everything out. So we're gonna go over there, get all the welding done, and then go back over to Paul's where my truck is still sitting and start taking apart the exhaust and putting this on. So it's been a little bit of an interesting process getting this all to work, but it's not custom if you don't have to make some stuff on your own. So here at Caswell Customs, sometimes we got to do some custom work. So we're gonna go get that taken care of, and then we'll show you we're at Brent's. All right, so we got our 2 plates. We're gonna go ahead and tack them together, and then grind them to fit the same size, and then weld it all up. And then we're gonna finish drilling through, making our center hole, and then drill our 2 points to go to the Y pipe, and then weld it up to the exhaust pipe. So we're gonna go ahead and get this started.
Let's have a bit of fun till I downfall. My love, if you feel like I do right now, don't say you're on the run to the other side.
Alright, so we've got our new flange welded up. As always, friend fucking killed it. So we're gonna go get this over to Paul's house, and we're gonna finally start working on the exhaust. You're filming, aren't you? Alright, so we started by just taking the wheels off. We're not going to start at the headers, but we do have to remove the plastic liners. We're actually going to start at the rear end of the truck and take the exhaust off from back to front. We just want to get the wheels off, so we're going to start taking the exhaust out. It's all just bolted together, so you just got to start undoing the bolts, and because we're not reusing it, we're probably just going to start hacking it up to pull it out easier, so we're just going to use a Sawzall, cut it up. So we're going to start on the rear end, and then we'll get forward towards the headers. So we got a bunch of the exhaust cut out. We cut part of the Y pipe, so now we got to start taking the headers off. So it's these bolts up in here. The spark plugs are kind of in the way, so the spark plug cables we're just going to pull out. Just make sure you pay attention to which one goes where. The coil is located kind of right above the one that's supposed to go to, so pretty much just line them up that way. But we're going to get this out so we can get the new long tube headers in. Also have to undo the O2 sensors. There's 2 of them for each side. For ours, we're only going to have 1, so we are going to have to get the truck tuned to eliminate the second O2 sensor, or they do make resistors to kind of trick the computer into seeing if the O2 sensor's there. We're probably going to be doing a custom tune, so I'll probably just have a check engine light for a little bit. Converter. And you got a flash, where's that flashlight at? So, if you look in there, that is what filters out a lot of the emissions and stuff. So a lot of the times when your engine might start bogging down, it's because these have actually failed. They're not allowing for clear flow of the exhaust gas. Because our long tube headers are catless, we won't have that kind of problem, but technically that makes our truck no longer street legal. Cats are required. But this is what I was talking about, where we have 2 O2 sensors. Because the headers only have one place for an O2 sensor, technically one of these is gonna get deleted. So there's a way to short these out, which I just have to figure that out, or we're just gonna tune them out later when we do the tune. The reason that we cut that off is because we're actually going to have to pull the header out the front of the truck because our dipstick between these two exhaust ports, and there's no way to get that out. And I can't tell if that's broken or if that was designed that way where that whole header isn't connected, but to me it looks like there's a split there. So it's probably a good thing we're replacing these.
That's why it's important to stay in the gym. Oh yeah. Got one, Benny.
Perfect, we don't need one.
So you don't need that one?
Yeah, I'll pull it out anyways in case it's busted.
Alright. Hold on. Can you take your saws off and
That's what I was
cut
thinking.
this one
Maybe
off
just
and we
cut
can just
that.
switch it around the dipstick?
That's what I was
I'm
thinking.
gonna let you do it so that way if you cut the dipstick it wasn't me.
Alright, so we officially have our stock header out. You can see right here. You can see the side of the block. You can see the side of the block. Make sure you disconnect your battery because while I was getting this out, these are making contact with the spark plugs and started sparking. So we disconnected the battery, but just a little tip before you get here. Now we get to put our long tube header in. So we're gonna go ahead and snake it up from the bottom. That's why we got it jacked up as tall as we do, so we can get a better angle to get it up in there. So we're actually gonna try feeding it from the top because we have to go over the dipstick again. So. So we got this header on. It was pretty difficult to finagle in there, but we got it. In the process, we actually busted a coil, and we actually snapped off a spark plug. So we're gonna have to get a new coil pack. The other one just can plug right back in, and we're gonna have to get a new spark plug. I don't want to go get anything until we do the other side, but I think as a precaution, we're gonna pull the spark plugs and the coil packs up out of the way just to make sure we don't have that issue on the other side. So now we're going to switch over to the other side, and then we're going to go get some the coil and the spark plugs, and then we got to run open headers. That's just a rule that if you put on headers, you got to run them open before you put anything else on. So we're going to get to the other side.
Hold on. Let me get these out of the way.
Hitting something.
Hold on.
I'm hitting the side of the transmission. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to go up this way. Alright, so because we can't feed the header straight up and our steering column's in the way, we're just gonna undo this bolt right in between them, so we can kind of separate them and pull them out of the way. And then we should be able to slide it straight down through. We removed the farthest back spark plug just because the header was making contact on it, and I don't want to break off another one like I did on the other side. So I already pulled that out, and so we're going to undo that and then hopefully feed it right in. All right, whew, man, I'm sweaty. Okay, so we went ahead and pulled two coil packs out, there and there, and that should give us the clearance we need to get the header the rest of the way in.
So I'm running one O2 sensor out of the recommended 4.
Alright, you're not driving this in California.
Yeah, well, it's more so just the fact that I'm gonna have a check engine light constantly. Alright, so we got our new coil pack in, we're getting our new spark plug back in, so we're gonna start hooking everything back up, and then we're gonna run it open header just to see what it sounds. So you'll hear that in the next clip.
You got lights.
Yep, well, I gotta make sure this programmer is set right.
I think you should leave it.
Oh yeah, Cody will be writing you today.
That is so loud.
Oh, I bet it's even louder in there.
Love it. Just wait till I get a cam in it. You get that lope sound. All right, now we get to throw all the exhaust on.
Now you're just gonna spoil it.
I know. It's that beautiful sound and it's ruined. So we got to undo the cross member that holds up the transmission and transfer case. The Y pipe is just right in the way, so we're gonna drop those, support it with a jack, and then get all the Y pipe put together. I feel like we need to loose up the headers at the engine. Huh?
Wrong answer, bud.
I'm saying at the engine on each side, we just gotta loosen them up so we can actually manipulate this. Alright, so we got the Y pipe put together, we got the U-bolt clamps on all the pipes, and we got the transmission and transfer case cross member put back together, so that's all tightened up. Now we just got to put the 2-bolt exhaust connection, I don't even know really what to call it, to the existing exhaust. They did not send factory hardware for that, so we got to get some hardware, and it's pretty late at night and no one's open, so we got to figure something out. Right, so we totally lucked out. Craig just happened to have 2 nuts that perfectly fit. What the heck was that?
Somebody hitting all the bottles with their trailer.
Yeah, apparently. Anyways, so Craig happened to have 2 nuts that fit, so we're gonna go ahead and put this on. Because we're putting it to this plate that we welded on, and because it was homemade, we don't have a gasket, so we're just gonna hit it with some high heat Permatex. Same thing that we used. We used the same stuff when we were putting the gaskets on the headers to the engine block. So we're just gonna put that around there and bolt it up to that. Alright, so there's these, new hangers, and this is not easy to get at, but basically there's gonna be a long plate that has a Caswell nut on it. You have to feed it through this large hole on the other side and get it to here, so that way you can actually hang this hanger. I suggest leaving the nut on the plate and Caswell nut, feeding it through, and then make sure you got it grip on it, loosen it off, put your washer, lock washer, and then your nut on, and you can go ahead and tighten everything down. But this is a pretty difficult step. I recommend having someone to kind of help you get it on the other side. I also recommend one of these magnetic grabber tools. This is literally what I held onto the plate and snaked it through on the back side. So just a tip for getting this hanger in there. Okay. Using this, I'm just going to use the muffler to the first pipe because this seems to be making it too long and it's not matching up with our hanger. So we're just going to try this now. And just like that, we now meet up with this hanger. Ah, beautiful. So we're bolting the 2 exit pipes together. That way this hanger supporting both of them. So there's this other hanger that it says it's supposed to go at this cross member that's up underneath the bed. It's honestly not long enough, and the fact that these are bolted together and hung right here, it's pretty sturdy, so I'm not even going to bother throwing this one on. So now we can go ahead and put our tips on and then we are done putting the exhaust in. I don't really like that touching like that, but it's as good as it's gonna get. Yeah, painting these black were definitely the right move. Okay. The exhaust is on. Now we just gotta put the wheel liners back on, put the wheels on, and drop her down. But it's been a long day.
Up, see how she sounds, or no? Not to seal on the ground. You gotta hook the battery.
Yeah. No, I'd say let's fire her up and see what it sounds. I mean.
Smells like heavy gas.
Yeah. Who needs a Loctite? Who needs to cross thread them? Is that the special tool over here? Or?
Yeah, it's right next to me.
Alright everybody, thanks for watching another episode of Caswell Customs. We finally got the headers done. I drove the truck here last night after we got done bolting everything up, so I got to drive it home. I think it sounds awesome. It's definitely a lot louder than what it was before, without running cats and those long tubes. It really increases the sound, so love that. The big thing is make sure you check that all of your spark plugs are nice and tight in there, and that the coil plugs are connected on securely. After we pulled it out of the garage, they actually popped loose and the spark plugs were coming loose, so it just started running really bad. So we just went ahead and tightened those up, plugged them back on. So I just tried to be real careful on the ride home, but right now it's driving great. I'm probably going to double check the plugs, make sure that they're all good, but it sounds phenomenal. Super happy with it. So the truck's just a little bit farther to get into that pre-runner that we're building. So definitely need to get our long travel suspension, finally get our wide body kit on there. Fiberworks is behind on orders due to COVID-19, so there's not a whole lot I can do there, but when they come in, that's going to be the next video with the truck, is getting the new fenders and bedsides on. So stay tuned for that. As always, like the video if you enjoyed it, comment if you have any questions about anything, and go ahead and subscribe to Caswell Customs. Check us out on Instagram. This is Vinny. I'll see you in the next one.